Well, hello friends, it's Ty, Frederick, and Chiquita from Broken Road Ranch, all about the good of the horse for the glory of God. The little training tip for y'all today. Now, some of you may very well have horses who, like Chiquita, were started in a way where well, they may have been built kind of like she is, where they're naturally really downhill to start with, and then they were overbitted early on. And if that's the case, and we'll define that here in just a second. If that's the case, I feel your pain. It's really tricky to take these horses, and it's interesting as breeding for these horses has gone on, and they've been bred continuously lower headed. It's great to a degree if you're really careful with it, but if you're not, then it's really easy to make horses that are false. Okay, and what I mean by false is kind of what she does. If I pick up on her, okay, what you're gonna see if I pick up on her, and you'll notice when I ride her loose a lot because I want her to feel a little uncomfortable. But if I pick up on her, like I'm gonna do here, okay, and I kind of soften her, what she tends to do is she breaks there at the pole, drops that neck, okay, but if you look carefully at her from the side, what you'll see is she's weighted the front end and she has lightened the hips. You see it? The hips are actually up. Okay, the hips themselves have come, less weight is now into the hips. There's no impulsion coming from them. And that is really, really a tricky thing to deal with. You know, I mean, this mare is no spring chicken, and we still deal with it. It gets better with consistency, but in the spring especially, like we are now, it's something you have to deal with. I want to give a couple tips, okay? And this is kind of, the first one is just sort of counterintuitive. And that is, when you have a horse like this, the tendency for us all is to feel like when they start to tuck that head, we feel like, oh, I'm going to shorten, right? And we kind of feel like, I don't have any horse here, so we keep shortening down, and we keep shortening down, and we keep shortening down, and we keep shortening down until we get to the point where, look at that, this horse is bound, this horse is bound, and there's no possible way that she is able to lift her front and actually step up underneath. So the first thing is counterintuitive, and that is to actually teach them to elevate the front end. And the way that you do that is you ride them really, really loose, first of all. And second of all, you don't pick on them about the face while you're doing this. You want to pick one thing at a time. And the one thing at a time that really matters is to get forward motion, okay? Start with forward motion without that head dropped way down. Then you're going to sit back in the seat, okay, farther back in the saddle than you normally do, and you're going to begin by driving with your hip. Okay, so let's define drive. All right, let's not scooch right over that. So when we talk about driving, what we're trying to do is we're trying to use our body to bring the back end of the horse up underneath. Okay, to shorten the back, if you will, or you can think about it like a motorboat. Okay, like this, bringing the hips up towards the shoulders. Okay, and the way that we do that, okay, is we're actually going to reflect that to the horse. Okay, here I'm going to get in sort of a normal standard position here. Okay, but what we want to do especially when we're having one that's tough like this, where we really need to drive, we're actually going to let ourselves scoot back. Okay, clear back here. We're going to put extra weight here into our seat bones. Okay, and we're going to tuck our belly button to our backbone. Oh, look, she feels it. Look at that. And that's going to become a driving seat. And then what we do is we walk along, excuse me, or trot along with the horse, and we overemphasize ever so slightly the motion of the horse. Okay, so here is a non-driving seat. Look at her change. And now I'm going to drive with my seat. One seat bone at a time. Sitting back, driving those seat bones as though I'm trying to grab this hip and push it towards, so right hip towards left shoulder, and then left hip towards right shoulder. In addition to this, I'm going to begin to build energy with my legs. So I'm going to you got to know your horse a little bit. I'm going to either bump with my legs, like this, Okay, or I may just squeeze with my legs, depending on what works best for my horse. This particular horse, generally, bumping is the better method for her, because otherwise she's like, you can squeeze me all day. That's cool. So bump, we bump, 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 one leg at a time here, along with that seat bone that we're driving forward. There it is. So now you can see she's kind of flat around here, okay? And again, I'm really tempted to try to really get after her about that bend, because it drives me crazy. But the reality is, if I get after her about the bend, I'm choosing a different track, okay? And if I get after her about the bend, look at what she does. She disappears on me, okay? So I'm gonna throw her away, sit back, driving seat, and now I'm gonna drive with my legs. Drive, 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 drive. See how far back I am? Okay, this is where that radical love comes in, and I'm going to sacrifice my comfortable position to try to make this horse better. So we drive, 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 leg, leg, leg. There, she actually elevates the front end. She starts to come underneath herself behind. Okay, then she lost it. Okay, there we go. Elevate the front. Comes underneath behind. I know, not pretty, but elevated and more together. Now when she is in that spot, and we lost it again. Okay, it's really habitual for these guys. So when she elevates and comes underneath, then I'm gonna shut her down in no particular hurry. And this is the second part of this exercise, is you actually drive, nothing in her face, drive, 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 drive. Okay, there her hips come underneath, and we just let her peter out to a stop. Okay, so there's two little exercises. Number one, on the trot, and you can do this at the lope too, where you nice and loose through the reins, and you just take all the time you need, okay? All the time you need. And if you need a friend to help you, it's hard to feel sometimes, and I'm hoping that I felt everything right in this video, because sometimes mistakes happen. But you go loose up front, you just let the horse go, you sit way back, drive those hips up. Look, she's doing a little better already, okay? Drive those hips up. It's okay if her nose is out just a little bit. We just kind of guide her on a circle, basically. Not worrying about the bend right now. That's a fight for another time. Okay, drive her up, drive her up. When I feel like her hips have started to connect, there we go, with her shoulders, then I just kind of ease back. Look at that. Okay, I ease down into my seat, put a little slump in my back, and let her peter out to a stop. And then we don't back them up. We actually drive them forward, okay, into the hand a little bit, until those hips come up to meet the front feet. And there we have it. So my friends, I hope that's helpful for you. If you happen to have a horse who, like this one, is so good at breaking at the pole and at the wither that they actually disconnect. So hopefully that's helpful for you all. God bless you. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.